everybody, I'm Elizabeth Riecks and this is Thursday Thoughts. It is Thursday, September 22nd. We are very close to October, which is crazy. And I'm just so grateful for this, the first break in weather that we've had for a couple weeks. It's just beautiful out today. We have a little mist here, which is awesome. As you can see, my cutie Justoro is in the background, and he is a bit of a facilitator in the topic this week, which is don't take things personally with your horse. I have encountered a lot of students over several years, many years. We seem to draw some of the best students and some of the most heartfelt students. And I think everyone I work with is in some form very interested in consent with the horses. And I think when we're in that headspace, it's very, very easy to start to read everything that the horse does as, I don't want to do this, or I'm not interested, or I'm bored. And or I don't like you, which is the worst form of taking things personally. But I think one really good reminder that I had when we were working with Lockie this last week is that a lot of times there's just a physiological reason for the horse not wanting to do everything or do something. It doesn't always mean that the horse is discontent with you riding, or discontent with following you, or discontent with being around you. It could be that they're in the parasympathetic nervous system and they're just in a rest and digest place. It could be that they misunderstand what you want from them, and they might have a freeze response, or confusion, or choice overload, which might cause them to want to just go and do something that's easier, like grazing. It could also be that their only way of communicating with you is some sort of learned behavior, like a hindquarter yield as a stop signal, for example. So a couple specific examples include, Justoro, I'll start with him. When I had my session with Lockie, we were just working on softening seeing if I could ask him forward like butter, right? So I had the lead in one hand, did very, very, very gentle guiding. And of course, knowing Justoro, he was like, he was embracing against me, which is a response with him a lot of times because he can get a little bit defensive about pressure. So we identified that he was in his rest and digest state. And for him, he goes there very quickly. Justoro can downregulate super fast. Which doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't want to follow me or engage. That's just, such an easy place for him to be. And so just adding a little bit of stimulation to his hip, I even just put my palm into his hip and rocked him a little bit, brought some proprioception to that area. And that's when he made a choice to step forward and then follow me and engage in the exercise. I had a similar experience with someone who was riding a horse. Same thing. This horse can ground tie better than any horse I've ever met. So he goes into his parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest a lot. So to get him moving, instead of waking him up or eliciting a fear response with the wand, or something that caused him to startle, we just did the same thing. I did a little little scratching on his hind end, these sort of things, brought some awareness to his body. Then invited him into his seeking system. I've recently taught him how to yield towards me with some positive reinforcement, and so offered that, gave him some R+ rewards, and then after that he was chasing after me, and even cantered a few times with his person as a passenger. It was awesome. One last example of something that we experienced, because this is really relevant to people who are teaching stop cues under saddle. Sometimes horses, when they, kind of pointing back to last week, the misalignment of our energy, when we're feeling some sort of frustration or some sort of incongruence internally, a horse who has learned how to hindquarter yield as a no could use that to say, not necessarily I want to end riding, but something feels incongruent about what you're doing. So instead of always getting off in that experience, a horse feels some sort of confusion, incongruence, whatever it might be, hindquarter yields, pause, take a moment, reconnect with the horse, and then ask to engage again. It doesn't always mean stop and get off. It just means I need to stop in this moment and have you check in with me. So I hope that all makes sense. Don't take things personally. Try to identify what it is about the horse that's causing the no. And just continue asking. See if you can get the horse into a state of higher activation and energy, and let us know how he or she engages. Okay, I hope this helps. I hope this intrigues you, and I can't wait to hear a little bit more about your experiences with this over the next couple weeks. Hope you have a lovely day. Namaste. I kind of left out a pretty big piece of information. So everything is under the assumption that you have already scoped your horse for pain, and that there isn't anything physical regarding equipment or health or nutrition that is causing your horse a big desire to disconnect or a pain response. So just know that everything I say is within that context. And that being said, I still don't think you should take things personally.